diesels early this morning.
So cold.
Yeah. I thought I was.
Maybe Kevin had something else he had to do after that, so he did it a little early.
Yeah, there you go. I thought I was going to be late at first.
That's no fun when your truck won't start.
Yeah, it's already started too. I'd say. Otherwise, I'd have went out earlier if I had any thought that it wouldn't.
My diesel was chugging a little last weekend.
Oh,
I don't trust it right now.
yeah.
We'll let her sit plugged in.
That's the bad thing about diesels is that, well, they hate cold diesel fuel. It gets so thick, even though it's not gelled, it still won't pull it through the filters.
Kirkwood Community College lost a bus at the hometown market this weekend.
Oh, is that right?
A bus full of 15 volleyball girls.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's if you don't have winter diesel and have the winter diesel treated, you're going to be in trouble. That's why all them southern trucks, they come up here with all their cheap southern fuel and they get up here and then they're all sitting along the interstate everywhere.
Well, it looks like 9 o'clock. Say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll consider for approval the minutes and agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes and agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion from Jensvold and a second from Smith to approve the minutes and agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 2, discussion with possible action regarding COVID-19 policies. Julie, are you on with us?
Yep, good morning, everybody. How are you today?
Good.
Good morning.
I don't really have any updates. We're getting shots in arms. As fast as we get the vaccine in, we're getting them out and having our clinics. They've come out with a new math calculation that we have to have 80% from week to week put in, and that will hopefully up our boost dose that we'll get for the first initial shot. And I don't see us not meeting that. So hopefully our allocations will get to become higher then. Our girls are out doing shots after they see their clients in the morning or while they're seeing their clients. And then coming into the office, and Vicki is entering all that information into Iris as soon as possible because they go off of that program to get for your allocation for the following week.
Well, it seems like the right way to do it.
Yep. I think that was the only fair way. That's what they came up with last week on Friday, and that will start this week. And it's not including the boost dose, it's only the prime dose. Because they know that the boost dose is the second dose, and it's not put that way in the IRIS program, but we're getting everything out as fast as we can get it in, and we're sharing it with our partners.
So how many doses do we get this week altogether?
Last Friday we were allocated 200, so we went 50-50. We split it 4 ways with all 4 of us. And those will be out and done ours will be done by tomorrow here in the office. And I believe the other 3 partners we'll have them done by Thursday.
So they report back to you?
No, they have the capability of putting it in that IRIS program too.
Do you see what they put in?
No, we cannot see that.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Little frustrating.
But if they don't use it up, then we won't give them as much allocation the next week. But so far they are not sitting on doses, and we stressed that to them too, not sit on doses. So I know Millers, as soon as they get them, they're on the phone calling their people that are on the list to come in and get a shot.
Now, most of the people getting a dose right now are flexible enough to be able to come anytime.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And then like last Friday we had a clinic that was scheduled at one of the schools, and they didn't have school, so we had to postpone it till today. And so they're doing that this afternoon. And as soon as they get that done, then they'll bring the paperwork back, and then there's 5 of us that can get into that program, and we will all be putting in the paperwork. So because it gets counted, I think they say that updates at, I can't remember if they said 10 or noon every day. So they can get a count on it.
And
Because they
then,
tell us we have 24 hours to put it in, but I like to get it in as soon as possible.
yeah.
And then there's only one other thing. I don't know if you talk to people on the community. Well, I know you talk to people, so let's rephrase that. But I have been getting a lot of calls. They keep forgetting for Winnebago County. They forget to keep putting Iowa at the end to get any updates. And so a lot of people think they're signing up for public health for the shot, and it is not. We are not doing 65 and older. So what they're signing up for is like Winnebago County, Illinois, or Wisconsin.
Okay.
So if anyone says, why isn't your public health contacting you, you can tell them we aren't setting it up. You probably have signed up in a different state. They need to put that Iowa, and we are not signing up. They have to sign up with the 3 partners.
All right.
We are concentrating on the tier groups. And by the end of February, Allison has got it figured out that we should be done with the first prime dose with all our schools.
Okay. Anything you want to talk about in the governor's change in her rules?
Well,
Because I think she's not requiring masks in public anymore, correct?
yep, that's what it says.
But it is suggested.
For standpoint in our office, Allison and I have had this conversation several times. With the new strains that are out there, they're very highly contagious, and if we still haven't gotten a lot of vaccine out, I would suggest masks would be recommend. No, I don't want to say recommend. Would be suggested, highly suggested.
Well,
but
I
we are
think
still
I think
masked here.
I think your office can mandate it.
Yeah. So yeah, we just feel masks are still very important. Social distancing. We have a meeting at noon today with our IDPH, so we'll have more guidance after that, and I can let you know next week what coming down from there. And I know I believe the CDC is going to be coming out here soon with new recommendations too regarding quarantining and things like that.
All right.
I just don't know when they're going to release that.
All right. Anything else?
Not that I. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Any of you guys have any questions?
So if you do mandate or change the mask issue, can you can do that though, Julie, from your office for our county?
Well,
No.
no, just for her office.
Just for your
No,
office?
just for my office.
Okay.
Yeah.
The governor.
And my office is still wearing masks. And we still have to wear masks going out and seeing our clients because of Department of Inspection and Appeals, DIA, and all of that with Medicare, and we have to follow all that infectious control guidelines because we still see the vulnerable.
Sure, but you think it might change because of the new viruses coming out? Or you don't know?
I don't know. That's why we can't, personally, we can't figure out why with the new virus strain, because it's so, they're a little bit more contagious. That's just us personally here. So we don't know. I
Yeah.
mean,
I agree, Julie, though, with you.
I know the governor emphasized that Iowans have to be responsible. So
right,
each group can make their own rules.
Yep.
And
And
everybody
we
should
have
have a conscious decision to make.
right, and we have talked to several of our people in our community and, you know, businesses and stuff, and I believe a lot of them are still having masks being worn. I believe several of the schools are still doing that, and because we don't have the vaccine yet to get them in the arm, and I don't know, I just feel, personally, I think she should have waited until we had more vaccines so we can get them out there. I mean, you know, like I said last week, when you're only getting 100 doses, it's hard to vaccinate all these people with just 100 doses. So,
And any setting you go to get a vaccine is going to require a mask, I'm sure.
yes, yes. And I believe the doctor's offices are still requiring masks and everything else. So,
Not a lot has changed.
no. I think it's just kind of back to like how it was in, you know, in the beginning where people wanted her to mandate it, and she never really used that big word mandate, and she just highly recommended it. If you couldn't stay within 6 feet from each other, then she suggested masks and things like that, you know. I think it's kind of back that way. That's just my personal opinion. Just my personal opinion.
Well, I don't think at this point we have any changes to make within our county policies, do we?
I don't think so, no. Because the quarantine is still the way, I mean, that you have still in there, and I don't think there's no change in that.
Okay. Anything else?
No, not that I can think of.
And he did give a good point yesterday that in our region there was
Oh, yes,
what was
we
that
had
number?
no one in ICU with COVID, no one on vent since, oh, I can't remember what date he said, but yeah. The hospital numbers in our region are down.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Hopefully we can stay that way.
Yeah, our numbers are going down, so we'll just, hopefully, Super Bowl Sunday parties didn't wreak havoc, but I didn't see very many out there. So
I think
I think everyone wants to have it be done so they can kind of somewhat get back to normal.
All right. Anybody have any more questions? Okay, you got anything else, Julie?
No, nothing else.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Number 3, Scott Minders, engineer, will discuss secondary road matters.
Morning.
Morning.
Other than what's on the agenda, I don't think I have anything. Not much has changed since last week. So you guys have any questions?
Challenging weekend with the wind. It was tough.
The wind makes for a whole different ballgame for sure.
Helped us out for a point. Kind of bothered us the rest of the weekend, but
Yeah,
got the ice off the road, so it was nice.
I saw they were still out there on Saturday afternoon trying to get things opened up, hoping the wind would go down and stay that way then.
Yeah, just on the gravels. We didn't have to run the blacktops, so it was nice. Just ran the gravels one more time just to get them opened up in a few spots that they were plugged up. So
Yeah, the challenge with gravel roads is we can only make a round in a day.
Yeah.
So whatever you get in the morning, if it blows behind you, you just have to get it the next day.
Did you have to go out Sunday at all? Or?
No, I didn't go out Sunday. Went out again yesterday. Just made a quick round on the blacktops, got the little tails off, and then made a round on the gravels again too. Just put little stuff that silted back in on the shoulders.
Okay.
Maybe would note that we talked a lot about 5-year plan for construction last meeting. And we can talk about it some more at this point, but I thought since Sue has raised some questions about how they're gonna handle the wind turbines and the tip and everything, that maybe we should wait and see what decisions get made about that before we dig into it.
Yeah. I think that'd be best.
Yeah, so I'll just keep that piece of information packet together, and we can revisit maybe March or April if they decide they're going to, tax those repower projects. Hopefully that decision's made soon, but she sounded like all the counties are trying to make a decision similar to each other, and it needs to be done by April 1st. So it gives us some time, even if it is not made until April 1st.
All right.
Who was telling you April 1st? That came from?
Sue said in her
from Sue?
email that her decision was due April 1st.
Oh, I read the email, but I don't know if I saw that. Okay.
Well, I don't think it was in our email,
Oh,
the decision for,
she just sent the
I
one
just
that was,
Remember,
She's a-
something about some other county, which,
Washington County's
Washington.
looking at them.
yeah.
I've got her response here on that one. That's the only one I noticed.
yeah, that's all I had too.
That
so.
and the spreadsheet for our existing. She sent that one out after our last meeting, so. But,
Okay, I'll double check that, make sure the timeline works, I guess.
yeah. When's your due date for your 5-year?
April 15th,
Okay.
so got some time for that, but
And it doesn't affect the budgeting process?
yeah, so the program includes the upcoming year, but we can get the budget completed and approved kind of beforehand.
I think seems like what we were talking about changing around, if it changed, it didn't change the first year much,
Right.
number wise.
Yeah,
Just where
Yeah.
is the difference?
I think, yeah, when we're talking about 2023 and 4, 5, 6, more
That
so than,
changed.
yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions on roads? All right, we'll move on. Consider for approval appointment of maintenance superintendent by the secondary road department.
All right, so we've been taking the last 6 weeks or so since Mark Johnson retired and vacated the superintendent position to advertise and interview for the position. We've had it posted in the papers and everything, but also internally to our crew. And after interviewing 5 of the 9 applicants, we've decided to appoint Ethan Shutter from within to the position. We have emphasized through the process teamwork, positive leadership, especially under pressure, and strong communication and sharing information and exchanging ideas with the crew. I think Ethan has done that in his interim period here in these 6 weeks, and I've been impressed with the way that he stepped up to the plate. I think he's got a lot to prove, to the public, to our own guys, to me, to you guys as the board, but I think he's ready to do that. So I have an offer letter that I've given to Ethan, I'll give you guys copies of it. And then today I'm looking for your approval and or I guess a stamp of approval on that offer. So I guess I'll let you guys kind of read through that. I did talk to Terry in depth about the process and everything last week as well. So he's a little bit more familiar yet about everything we talked through and how we made the decision.
Yeah, I guess I concurred that looking at the selection of people that they interviewed, I felt they did the right thing. So I supported it.
So Terry, did you seek out Scott to look at the different ones, or did Scott
You know, he
talk to you?
contacted me
Contacted you?
as the chair to come in
Yes.
and talk about it. So,
Oh, I'm just looking for the process here.
yeah.
Yeah, I was contacted Terry just to see if, you know, from, I guess, the board's perspective, if he had any concerns or questions or anything like that.
And I felt comfortable with it. I dealt with him on one of the road issues that we had talked about, and I was confident in the way he dealt with it and things like that. And I also asked, you know, when Mark Johnson started, how many years had he been an assistant? What'd you figure, 3 years? So he had 3 years experience when he started. You've got how many years?
It'll be 8 in May.
And there was probably some other applicants that, you know, probably had a lot more years of experience in business maybe, but, or in working on roads. But I felt this was probably the better decision to go with.
You know, lots of times, morale wise, it's good to hire from within. It's- Evidently, you have the support of some of the rest of the workers and
Yeah,
the crew, so
got a real good group of guys on the secondary roads.
I'll agree with that. Well, I guess I don't have a problem with it. I'll make the motion to appoint Ethan as superintendent for secondary road department.
I think that's one that's got to be stamped.
Oh, I gotta get the stamper out.
Oh, man, the high-tech device. I'll second the motion. We've got a motion from Jensvold, a second from Derby, to approve the appointment of maintenance superintendent to the secondary road department, or for the secondary road department of Ethan Shutter. Any further discussion? Questions? You want to make any comments?
Well, thank you. Look forward to getting to know you guys a little bit better and working with you and go from there. Got some big shoes to fill, but we'll get there.
Yeah, he was a awful knowledgeable fellow.
Yeah.
I look forward to, you know, looking at things sometimes outside the box just to see if anything else is even feasible, you know?
I agree. Fresh ideas are always welcomed.
Whether they get implemented or not, another thing. It's just
Yeah.
listening and
Yeah, I think Scott's idea of conversation and just having that talking points is really smart. Not always business as usual, you know.
I'm sure some of the guys know I got plenty of bad ideas. But every now and then we'll find one that works well.
You know, it's called brainstorming, and
That's
that's how
right.
you come up with good ideas.
Yep.
We've never disagreed with anything you want to do. So.
Yeah, I didn't mention it the other day, but I did see an advertisement. I don't know if you noticed it when you were on the supervisors meeting and they were scrolling through in between sessions. There was this grader you pull behind.
Mm-hmm.
Did
Oh,
you see that?
I did see
You
that.
can pull it with a pickup, scarifier teeth, and it just
Yeah.
for in the spring to dry things out and just kind of work things up. That was kind of neat.
Yeah, I know some counties have them.
Yeah. Well, we've got a motion on the floor. All those in favor of Ethan Shutter as the new maintenance superintendent, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Too much is, someone who's given a lot is expected a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that's to put in your back pocket too.
Thank you.
Ethan grew up around here. I kind of hope he stays around here. So
Don't have any plan on moving, I guess. So.
you got that sheet.
It's, do you have that stamped, if that's the one?
I suppose you better give it to you so you can sign it then.
But everyone needs to sign this one?
No.
Just you?
Do any of you guys have any focus forum initiative, anything that you're, looking for right away?
You're putting me on the spot here, man.
Yeah.
Let me absorb that.
Sure, that's fine. We're gonna throw a lot at them right away, so.
Well, just maintaining the level we've been at is a challenge to keep everything orchestrated without the one who used to orchestrate it all. So
We've been pretty lucky on the winter so far, so it's helped out.
yeah, it's probably shouldn't say this, but I have a really hard time getting upset over global warming, especially this morning when my pickup wouldn't start.
So now you can start your own historical files of road issues.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let me put the first one out there for you. How come you took the maintainer out into Rice Lake this morning?
All that, the little section right there by Grunhouse there,
Yeah?
it's just, I can't get a taper on it really.
Okay.
So it just kind of really fills it in that spot coming off the lake.
It really does right there, doesn't it?
Yeah. So Marcus just went out there, just put a nice taper on, so
Cut
maybe it
back.
won't fill in so much for me. Try to get it from plugging up every morning, so maybe it won't be so bad.
People can go the other way around.
Yeah, I think a lot of them do.
Should we just let her fill in and leave it for the winter?
Probably should. Sure someone will.
I'll tell him it was Ethan's first act of his
There
new
you go.
job.
Start off on a good one there.
So going forward out to Race Lake, what equipment we gonna still use a pickup out there, or what are we gonna use?
Well, we've historically used a combination of things, but the first line of defense has always been the pickup plow. It's very hard to get around out there with bigger equipment.
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
But they've used loaders and graders to push stuff back into, off the road, and it's pickup doesn't have a wing or anything that can make any more space than the width of the pickup, basically.
It's fun to watch videos of snow moving equipment that they've got around the world, different things, and some of the unique. Which is, man, that would be fun to have.
I used to do the village up at Beaver Creek, Colorado, and tight turns, lots of parking in the way and stuff. And they gave me a Mercedes Unimog, about the wheelbase of a pickup. Got tires this tall and 4-wheel drive. You can go all the way to all 4-wheel drive, and the blade all floated through there. And that thing was an animal. And it would turn on a dime. You could turn right around in the street.
The one I saw, I watched one last night, and it had the plow on the front, and it was it wasn't as long as a semi, but it was much longer than a dump truck. And then it had a big thing that come out from the back, and they could take the whole,
Tow plows.
yeah, no, it wasn't even a tow plow,
No?
it was all one piece.
Huh.
It was one truck, one frame, and he could be on the inside of the interstate, and he was blading everything off, including the shoulder in one big swipe. I mean,
I know they started putting plows on like brine tanks that you pull,
yeah,
so that they could shift the wheels and then the trailer would come out to the side.
yeah, I've seen those
Tow
where
plows.
but this
So you
one,
could really wreck something.
Rochester has one of those on Highway
Yeah.
52.
Yeah.
it's engine for 300,000-400,000. The guy can probably have one. Well, maybe not even that. That thing looked like it cost a lot of money. It was big and it was heavy.
Bad thing about the Unimog, 30 miles an hour is max.
Well, he did have a big pile. There was like a airplane or a drone following him down the interstate, filming it, and there was a big pile of traffic behind him, so he wasn't going as fast as everybody wanted to go. So,
Any plow is like that.
yeah.
Well, I guess that's our brainstorming so far.
There you go. Yeah. We went off on a tangent quick before we let you get out of here.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you. Oh, I was gonna remind them that that water is still bubbling up through the road out there
Oh,
at
is it?
Rice Lake too.
Huh.
There's somebody's water lines or
Yeah.
something's
Must be
broken.
cracked or underneath there.
It's bubbling up through the blacktop.
Well, it's not good.
Mm-mm. And it freezes right there too, so it's kind of icy.
Nice icy patch.
They're aware of it, but
Yeah. I would assume.
We're ready for you.
Yeah. All right, I had it right.
And when was that scheduled? Up at
They
Garville?
just said February, so I'm not sure.
All right. My guess is they'll probably finish that project up there while they're there. And
I shared it with you, Bill,
Oh, did you?
so you can just click on it.
trying to think if I had anything else for. We haven't heard any more on the lower end of
I will call
DD11.
Rick again today because I'd like to get some other updates from him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And do you ever find out on Emerson Leeds deal with the NRCS, what that means?
Not a final answer, no.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it looked like it was pretty much all the same material on both sides of the road there. Just whether they seal the joints or whatever is probably the difference if they have to. Do you guys have anything else for drainage?
Is that 6? Is that her too? or
That's a
is
separate
that's a
agenda
separate
item.
agenda. Okay.
Well, seeing no more drainage issues, we'll go on to number 6, consider for approval pay estimate number 7 to BNB Farm Drainage for DD11 main tile project in the amount of $151,287.30.
So you said, Chris, you've got like lists of everybody who's insured, all the different contractors that are insured and stuff. So what does that cover?
General liability.
Just
If
not if they get the
there's a
work done in
contract
time or,
work, then they're insured differently. Like B&B on this project are insured differently. In case there's errors, the insurance would be good for 2 years. If we had to come back on them for something. The general liability is just annually, they send me a new insurance policy.
so the total bill on this one, estimated bill was 917,000, right?
Well,
And
it's on
so-
that one sheet isn't
It's
it?
on this sheet.
At the bottom.
And so just as they get work done, then it's
We,
paid
we hold 10% back on every pay estimate.
On every pay estimate, yeah, we do.
10%.
And that's not paid until 30 days after the final hearing. That final 10%.
So it's critical at that point, we go out and inspect and ask the landowner if they're happy with the work and if all the rocks get picked up and
All the garbage.
fences mended. Not that anybody puts fences back in much, just occasionally.
There's still a few guys that like to run their cows out there. Not very many.
So really the 10% is our insurance. I mean, their insurance is just a general,
And then there's also a warranty period, isn't there?
Yeah, that's the 2 years.
that's what the 2 years is. So if something fails or if something is determined that it's not working or.
Right.
Okay.
They rather transit backwards, they have the fall going the wrong way. When I worked on the pipeline, we had a guy that did that.
Oh,
I'm like, I'm watching the way the water was trying to flow, and I'm like, we're going in the wrong direction. He thought he knew how to read it.
do you know how many people are actually in that drainage district? Owners?
Not exact numbers, no. We're in the middle of reclassifying it also, so we don't have a final number.
Yeah, there's a area down on Norm's land at the very top of it that when they did it, he tiled to another district, he said, so I imagine that
So
was
he's
right.
already paying into that other district, and then we had to take him out of this one. Well,
Some of it.
No,
And Rick has determined that, how
He's
much?
working on it.
Okay.
that's what we're
So that's
working
what
on.
that's the, okay.
Right. We also have this project, which is the main tile project, but they extended the open ditch. So the new open ditch is still part of the main tile project. And when the project is over, they'll reclassify the main ditch, because then those people that where it was extended will no longer be in the tile system, they'll be in the ditch system. So
It's kind of
we have a class, then we have a class.
Sure. And are they bringing private tile into that ditch then, or is it still county?
Well, private, they can do whatever
They
they
can
want.
do whatever they want.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it was kind of weird the way we had to do it because we established a new open ditch.
Mhm.
separate from the existing open ditch, we had to kind of have a temporary classification.
Right.
Just to determine who's paying for the improvement.
Mhm.
And then after it's all said and done, then it just goes into the open ditch.
Right.
Will it be a separate open ditch or it will be part of the?
It'll be
entire-
part of the main ditch. And then it'll just be the main ditch till the end and then the.
But there was also issues with the laterals and
So that's all gonna be,
we're gonna get that fixed.
everything will be fixed.
Yeah. Because before there were some laterals that were being paid for by more people than it should have been. And so. All right, well, I'll make a motion to approve the pay estimate number 7 to B&B Farm Drainage for DD11 main tile project.
I'll second it.
Got a motion from Derby and a second from Jensvold to approve the pay estimate number 7 to B&B Farm Drainage. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Open forum.
You take this one too?
Yeah. Yeah, I think this pay estimate we just did not include everything they've put in the ground so far. I think it was just a portion of it.
Oh, just a,
There's some in the ground that's in the 36-inch category, so they're just kind of breaking it at the size. But, some of that, there's still big slabs of dirt. They'll have to wait till spring to knock down.
These have to be stamped,
received, please.
received, yes.
We don't have to approve those, we just mark them received.
Who's Cody Thompson? Is he from around here originally?
Did he get a raise or?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's the one that, he used to work at the lumberyard in Lake Mills,
Okay,
so he's from that area.
Okay.
That's how I knew him.
Didn't he work for Worth County?
Yeah, he started at Worth.
Okay, oh, that's one, yeah, all right.
That they were complaining to us that we stole.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I suppose we stole some Fort City one. Let's see. Yeah, that one's from Fort City. The other one, I don't know do you know where the other one came from? Doug?
Both of them are from Forest City,
Okay, both came from that police
from
department,
the PD, yeah.
so we're popular again.
Can't ever blame anybody for trying to make a step up.
The other thing under open forum I was gonna bring up, so we're still short one person on the eminent domain board then?
Yes.
Okay, trying to remember, get the sheet out here.
Did you come from the banking and business or?
I think it's banking we were looking for in the Thompson area, or
Or I think banking and business was together, isn't it?
I think so.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah. So it could either be either one.
Yeah, so trying to think of any business people in that central part of the county or western.
Like, I thought maybe Alyssa Fleener.
Hmm.
Or her husband, or businessman in the area.
We should probably make an effort for female if we can.
But that's why I went with her first.
Trying to think what other ones.
The
Too.
only other person I can think of is Kara Chapman.
Do they
She's
have
on
to have-
another board,
do they
isn't
have-
she?
They don't have to be a business owner. I was wondering about Joanna Thompson. She manages the hometown market.
Yeah.
That's Tom
It's
Thompson.
technically a business person in a sense, I guess.
What do you think?
Either one, it's whichever one wants to do it, I guess. It's,
It makes sense to ask Thompson.
Yeah.
It's a good thought. I
Hmm.
mean, it's a good thought.
he said, I don't know her.
Well,
Sure
you know,
seen her before.
her husband's the chair of the fair board.
Tommy
Yeah.
Thompson.
Tommy.
Yeah, I know Tommy. I can't picture her for some
She's
reason.
got,
Who was she? What was her maiden name?
she used to manage the Shopco before it
Mhm.
closed. She had the only Shopco that actually showed a profit.
Yeah, I was disappointed that it decided to close.
So I have high regard for her, the way she runs businesses. You want me to talk to her then? Or you want to talk to
Yeah, if
her?
you want, you're there more often than I am. I can stop there, I guess, but probably not today. I've got to be at Paul or a funeral this afternoon. So,
No, I can talk to her.
all right. I was gonna stop and ask Melissa once too, but it don't matter either one.
Okay,
Well, if somebody says yes, just remind me to put it on the agenda for next week.
okay.
Is her name Joanna? you said?
Joanna. I'll see if she's interested. And we decided this was the business and banking sector of
Yeah.
eminent domain.
And tell them that there's like 20 people on the board. So they don't-
28 people on the board.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's not like you're there all by yourself getting all the
There's different factions of the
heat put
board.
on you. And
So I'm not sure if this is something that you bring up in open forum or not. You have to tell me if it's not, but I'm concerned about who is going to be invited or on the agenda for the 23rd when the wind
Well, I had mentioned
turbines.
I was going to invite Invenergy.
Yep.
Which I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay,
He's under
that's what I was wondering.
he's under COVID restriction right now, but he said by the end of the week he should be done with that.
Okay. And Matt Duve is
I'll be
coming.
here.
Okay.
And are we comfortable having it here? Or do
That's
we
up to you
want to
guys.
expand our,
That was a question that I wondered about too, is do we need
more space?
more space? Because I guess I'd like to have, whether it's on a conference call or what, but Sue too
Mhm.
there, because I think there might be some questions about,
We could possibly set up, I hate to go to the general public for Zoom, but if we could have Zoom available for, certain invitees anyway. We offer conference call. I just don't want to publish anything. You always get these bombers that'll come in on Zoom and take over with adverse effects.
Hmm,
That's what the conference calls for. Whereas on Zoom,
I just think there's gonna be questions about what they paid into taxes in the last year and over the last how many years. And
well, we've got
Three
that.
What's
point
progressed?
1 million or something like that, wasn't
That's what this sheet's all about.
well, yeah,
it? How much was it?
No, she sent out one after our last meeting. And then
Oh, it-
she also sent one to the
It
Washington
was,
County.
the total taxes was 3.1, was it?
3.2
Or 3.2?
From- for this year.
Yeah.
I just think those are questions that people are gonna wanna know to make good decisions, you know? And then like, just, I have questions about special assessments and, you know, I don't know enough about it. I'm trying to learn about the conversion and all of those things, how that pays out.
The conversion.
Well,
Oh,
the
you mean
special
with the
assessments
ones
of
they're
the,
doing now? Yeah, we're still learning on that.
yeah,
Because it was straightforward before, where it was just maintenance. Now with the new findings by the Department of Revenue, we're not sure.
right. I just think
Depends on what
there's,
the assessors can possibly come up with. To me, it should be maintenance, but it's up to the assessor to determine that. And it sounds like they're gonna try and do it as a group, to be all in the same page. So I'm sure the wind turbine people are going to want to challenge it.
Yeah.
So they don't have to pay taxes.
I thought they were all about being good neighbors.
We'll see. We don't know.
right.
So does that answer your question then, son?
Yeah, I'm just, if anybody thinks anyone should be there, I think this is gonna be kind of the time to have them there and get all our questions
Do
answered.
you think we should have our meeting that morning at TSB if it's available? Or?
I don't know how
Or do you
many
think we
people.
can just manage it? Whoever wants to talk has to come in and hear the talk, and
Yes.
they wait out in the hall, or
I think that could work fine. I think just needs to be organized, you know, controlled or whatever.
the one thing I know other counties have done that we have not done is to pass a resolution limiting the time anyone can speak on any subject. We've never implemented something like that. You remember that? Wright County did it.
Do we wanna go there?
Well, no, if we want, I mean, we have it available so that somebody doesn't dominate a conversation at some meeting sometime. You don't have to adhere to it all the time. It's just if you choose, you can bring it up and say, well, we've got, according to resolution such and such, we can limit your time. But, and then like in Wright County, when they had their big hearing down there for the new processing plant, they limited it to county residents. And then they allowed surrounding government, like other supervisors from around surrounding counties to comment. And so it kind of put it, and they limited the overall time. So there wasn't really a lot of room for out of county people to come in and dominate this. We're talking about Wright County, how they handled their processing plant public hearing. I don't think we're gonna have that problem here, but sometime I'd like to see us pass a resolution just to have something as a tool in our toolbox if we need it. Something we'd work through.
So they had some kind of a filibuster going on or something where they just had,
Well, you could bring a lot of negative out of the county people in and just dominate a conversation is what it is. And I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen here. I'm just saying sometime it'd be nice to have that tool available if we have to.
A resolution or an ordinance.
Can't remember what it was. I thought it was
I
a
don't think it
resolution.
would be an ordinance, cause was an ordinance book and it's just about public speech, so that it wouldn't be an ordinance.
Yeah. It's a resolution on how we conduct meetings.
Oh, yeah, I was assuming wrong thing.
Don't we already have one of those?
For limitations?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do. There's a time limit. We can make a,
Oh, okay.
I've seen something that has time limits on it.
There's something.
I can't remember what we drafted that for. trying to remember.
And it got passed.
But I think it was when all the jail stuff was going on to build the jail. And then we had to come up with, I think we came up with something like the time limits.
Well, much like, you know, yeah, for this case here, it'd be nice if you're getting comments from people in the county.
Well, that's where you want your comments, but you know, the thing with people, if they're not agenda driven and just experience driven from, you know, people that have been around them from other counties, you can understand some of that, but
Yeah, but our county people have been around them.
yeah, no, and we,
We've got as much experience as everybody else does.
Yeah, with 134,
More than that.
how many is it
Plus
Plus
altogether?
24, 134 plus 24, is it?
plus the new ones, yeah.
Yeah.
We had 134 in the original.
It's 158.
Was it 20? Did it end up being 24?
No, 23.
Oh,
wasn't it?
23.
So 134 and 23, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I've been told so many
157.
numbers over the years, I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah, 157,
was-
is that what it
At
is?
one time it was gonna be over 80.
But
and then
she
it was
probably-
down
I
to
don't know if she- I don't
17,
know
I
if-
heard. and-
I don't know if she's counting the one the school has or the one that Sierra Holland has.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
These are
Oh,
the ones that go on the grid.
Mhm.
They're a different category, I think. All right.
So I guess the other person that I was thinking was our county attorney. You know, if we have questions about being able to even do something that is asked by the,
Do we know what time the?
There's not a time on it.
Okay.
There's a time at 9:30 for the master matrix.
Okay. Do we try to do it at 9 o'clock then?
we won't be able to get it done in half an hour.
You don't think so?
I doubt it. I don't know
The odds are pretty good that it'll take longer than that.
though. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could go faster than that, but it all depends on who shows up.
So just do a 10 o'clock that day, huh?
And that's Master Matrix is at
9:30.
9:30.
9:30.
That won't take that long though.
That's just an update.
That's just an update, yeah. So
Yeah.
that one
It's
should,
not a whole new one.
So it's just like 9:45, I guess.
Okay. Guess we'll do that then. We'll try and do it here and just move people in and out that want to talk. All right. Discussion with possible action budgets. What do you have for us?
I gave you an updated copy of the flex sheets and then an updated copy of the budget. I changed,
How did you ever end up with mental health here?
I have a conference call with them today at 1 o'clock, so mental health is not right yet. Because we were still negative and they don't agree with my numbers and I don't agree with theirs and we just gotta figure it out, so. I'm gonna talk to her later today. I had to increase the general basic levy to include the 834,000 for the roof project because we'll have to transfer that from general basic next year. And I didn't account for that, so that is in there. And that's really the only change I made, but that changed the general basic levy.
So,
what did it change it to then?
It's on this papers,
Oh, on that one.
page 4.
How much was the increase from what was it last year? Did it bring that one?
can bring that with me.
I probably have it here somewhere.
It's higher than it was last year
Now it is,
nowadays.
I think so. Oh, let's see.
This is last year's. So general basic last year would have been 4.3198. So it did go up.
What's the dollars?
It was 2,635,673. Is that the correct one then? It says fiscal year July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021.
Yep.
And it's signed by Bill Jensvold and Carl Weiss. So it shows a increase of, 340,000,
Yeah,
but which is a little less than half the cost of the road.
yeah. So basically, we would have dropped taxes if it wasn't for, so still, I mean, it is what it is. I really wish that the supervisors from about 20 years ago would have done all this stuff so we wouldn't have to deal with it.
And since it's coming, I don't know how you wanna handle it, if you wanna leave the ending fund balance at the 25%, or because next year that money will come back in if you wanna just increase it
It's
by.
kind of like an ending fund, part of the ending fund balance when it comes back in.
Well, yeah, so I didn't know if you wanted to
Just drop the ending fund balance down.
just a
On
little
that one,
bit to,
that one
so it
specifically.
doesn't increase it so high. Because it'll come back in next year, and then you can drop the levy next year a little
Yeah.
bit more, or a little bit too. I don't know how you wanna handle it, you gotta tell me.
Well, we've survived with lower fund balances before, much lower. I guess that would help take a little bit of the bite out of it, but it's a relatively necessary, I mean, it's at this point that we gotta do what we gotta do with buildings, so it's,
Okay, so I'm trying to get it in my head how that would work. If we did that, we're kind of in the same fund balance area. Well, it depends on how much we cut it back. Yeah.
back to 20% instead of 25.
So what's 5%
What
then?
would 5% be, where's the fund balance? And fund balance June 30th. Would be 80,000.
So what page was ending fund balance on?
On page 14,
Okay, general basic. If that's. So 1/5 of that would be a 200,000 about.
5% would make the ending balance 847,433.
That's
So that would be 200,000, right? Or about.
about 210 or whatever. So then on the levy rate, that would,
It would drop the levy rate to just be a relatively small increase. Because you've got 200,000, a little over 200,000 of the 300.
Do we dare go below 20%? Knowing we have that money coming back
If we
in,
went to 15%, we cover it all.
not all of it, half,
Or all,
well, it'd be all the difference
all the difference.
in the increase.
Yeah.
About.
We can worry about building fund balances after we've got all this stuff done. In a sense, I guess. It's gonna be a lot easier in the future.
I just don't wanna be building fund balances on the burden of the taxpayers. If we can do it,
No, that's what I mean.
That's what he's saying too.
yeah,
I agree.
I,
but are we okay with 15% fund balance? Or is that getting pretty dangerous?
well, the fund balance is for surprises, and I think we've had all our surprises.
Oh,
Okay.
no,
You know,
say that.
yeah, well,
I wouldn't go that far. The heater in my office isn't, the heat on the new side of the building isn't working, and, we better knock on it.
Find some wood.
what do you mean, there's boiler issues?
I don't-
System
Well,
issues.
System issues.
And surprises are just that. They're surprises. You don't
Yeah,
know.
but
You know.
they
I'd say
shouldn't-
20 would be the
There-
minimum that I would feel comfortable.
there shouldn't be any surprises that are as large as what this has been. I mean, we're talking millions here. You know,
I don't know. I just know that we can get it back if, the TIF will come in, we'll replenish
Yeah.
the ending fund balance, and we can lower the levies next year when,
yeah,
So do you always
you-
do it in 5% increments? I mean, can you go 17?
Not
Or,
you can go whatever, yeah, we
Yeah.
can go whatever we want.
17.5876 if you want.
there you go. Let's make it hard for Carla.
You either way, it's,
I would say no more than 20%
all right.
as a max. If there's some number under that we can manage with. So how many dollars does last year's rate generate?
When does that money come back in then, though? I mean, when can you get it?
So if we spend it next year, it'd be the following year we get it back.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a fund balance carryover, but
Mhm.
It's an interfund loan is what it's called. So we'll have to have public hearings and
Yeah.
the whole works for it, because it's a debt,
Mhm.
so.
personally, I'd rather pay ourselves interest too.
We can talk to Bob when we do
Yeah.
and see how to do that.
Then are we gonna be borrowing it from her? That one we'll probably borrow from ourselves.
For what?
The 800,000 is probably gonna be borrowed from ourselves.
Yeah, that's why I had to include in the general basic this time, because we're borrowing it from ourselves.
Yeah, if we weren't borrowing it from ourselves, then we could, but that we'd have public hearings and all that.
Either way, we have to have public
Yeah.
hearings.
Would it be simpler just to borrow from a local bank at a low interest rate? Or not?
I mean, it's cheaper to borrow from ourselves.
Depends what we're paying interest on. I've seen some pretty low rates locally. But
Yeah, but most of that's for some longer term. I don't know what they would do for like, 'cause we would only need to borrow it for
a year.
a year or so.
Mhm.
Whether they're, you know, and maybe one of the local banks be friendly with them too.
But I think the one I saw was over in Clear Lake, that TIF project on the other side of the interstate. They had,
You saw the rates?
well, yeah, it was in the paper.
What was it? Do you remember?
0.4 and 0.5. The one they had for their community health center or whatever it was 0.375, 3/8 of a cent. They have pretty good rating down there though.
But they must have, I mean, they have the interest rate at that, but what are the
Yeah,
The
or the
loan
fees,
costs.
the fees
the
cost.
fees, you know, when you're doing the fees, if you're doing fees over a 15-year loan, it's a lot different than fees on a 1-year loan, because the fees would be the same.
That's true.
And so where does that actually get your actual interest rate at?
Here, we wouldn't have those fees involved probably, other than with the urban renewal changes and things like that. Just thinking outside the box. The only reason they said it was because that we wouldn't have to levy for it.
Mhm.
But people are tired of us borrowing money the way it is. So where's our comfort zone on funding balance? I suppose if we had a 20% fund balance, that makes it easier to borrow from ourselves without undue burden, right?
So 20% gives us an $847,000 ending fund balance. 17% gives us 720,000. 15 gives us 635, 540, or 74.
The 1 year we were like 200,000, weren't
Yeah, we don't want to do that
we?
again.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that, I'm just.
We were struggling
remember
big
this-
time
Remember
that
the
year.
scary days.
I mean, just getting the budget done was a struggle that year,
What year was that?
2-3 years ago,
Oh, yeah, it must have been 16.
17?
probably 17. Well, fiscal year, it was probably or it might have been 2016 or 2017. We were planning a budget, but so it was probably last year's budget we were really struggling with that we actually went through. Last year wasn't as much of a struggle because it was cut and dry. We had to spend more money on public health.
Yeah.
That the year before we struggled to fund public health. All those changes and how they were getting reimbursed.
Changes, yeah, and the reimbursements were months behind, and
The privatization did not help us at all. And then the other question I had asked you earlier was on the ICAP, whether we have to figure that in.
Yeah, I'll look at that.
That one email said it to be a 15% hike in our insurance, the liability insurances and stuff. Property and isn't it property and liability?
there's a 50% increase in that.
15.
15.
Yeah.
Saw that too.
But I don't know whether they're anticipating lots and lots of lawsuits or what, but my truck insurance, gee whiz, I think that went up at least 15%.
I don't know if
this
it
year.
has something to do with the derecho or,
Maybe, maybe they're trying to recoup.
losses in that area. There might have been government buildings down
Right.
there that had
I don't
property damage.
I don't put 5,000 miles a year on my truck, and it cost me over $3,000 to insure it for the year. It's gone up. And just a couple of years ago, the insurance was probably only $1,200.
Really?
Yeah, it's just gone up astronomically the last 5 years.
Makes me think I better look at ours.
Well, not for farm wise, you're all right.
Oh,
So
You
I
don't
to
have
it's
commercial
your,
license on it,
oh,
do you?
it's your,
I haul fertilizer for the elevator in the spring, and if I didn't do that, I could be, it would be a lot cheaper.
mhm.
Just gotta pass it on to the elevator.
So what do you want me to do? Take down
She said 20% was the
847, 433.
Well, that kind of splits the difference a little bit. It's the increase in the levy, about half the increase it was before.
I do.
%15 brought it all the way down to
Seven something, or 600.
600 and something.
18% is 762, 689.
And where were we at with this 20%?
20% is 847, 433. 25% is 1,056 or $59,291.
Yeah. So we're at 17%, we're 300,000 less.
I mean, maybe we should just be budgeting for the year we're in, but looking forward, I don't know.
Okay, so on the other areas, the general supplemental, we were, what did we end up there?
General supplemental, we're levying. Let me put this on the board.
Let's see, 229, and last year was 252. We generated 1.538 million last year, and this year we're only generating 1.439. So we're gaining some of it back there.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe we're okay
Well,
with
everything was gonna be pretty much down except for until this came in.
Well, not real basic, real basic.
Yeah, rural basic was the one that was gonna be up, and that was a minimal increase, if I remember right.
It's significant.
Was it?
Yeah.
that and general basically your main ones. So it looks like overall property taxes levied at this point would be, well, the way it was presented on paper was 7,478,000 versus 7,149,000. So it's about 330,000 difference overall. If we brought it down, it'd almost be the same overall if we brought it down to 17%.
The overall tax increase would be
Right,
about the same.
across all of them, yeah.
Well, or it would be the same as it was last year.
The taxes levied.
The taxes levied, the levy rates
Should have been lower.
are lower, but the property values are up, so it's,
But I'm just thinking, out of pocket for the people. Well, I guess I'm stuck somewhere between 17 and 20.
I like 17.
you feel all right going below 20?
I hope we can do the project for less than 8. I mean, we were
Well, no,
we
see,
were maxing it at.
The good news is it may come in at 500,000, it will be
Yeah.
300,000 less. I mean, but until then, you gotta err on the side of caution. And then, like you say, we borrow the money from ourselves pay it back, and next year looks, the year after this even looks better. So,
And we've got things in, I believe, in the specs to where we can cut some of the little flat roofs if we have to, if it's too expensive.
We took the flat roofs out of the project
Oh,
altogether.
altogether?
yeah, yeah.
We're
Is
gonna
it-
do that
Is it
separate.
an option?
No, it's not
Okay.
an option. We're gonna do it separate as a
Is it
maintenance item.
standalone maintenance?
Yeah,
Okay.
that way we don't have to.
So it could easily get well below the 800,000.
Well, and that 800,000 includes the conservation money also.
Who met with them when they met on the roof recently? Was
I
that
was
you?
there.
Was you? Did they give any indication about any of it, or, I
The
mean, was?
markets right now, or
Yeah, with
Uh,
COVID and,
We don't have bid prices, we just have it, we're starting to work on a timeline.
Some of the prices of the materials have gone up. And,
I'm guessing the labor's gone up.
and the labor, I would guess, is also gonna go up. And one reason we did it was, I don't know if I wanna say everything.
More control of the contract.
Well, yeah, who you're gonna have.
So basically it's gonna include just the roof up here and the roof on the new addition.
Right, so which is a different type of project than these are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is why we excluded them.
Makes sense.
It's not
might be a whole different contractor. I
Right,
mean,
it's not the
it's not,
same.
We
not the
don't-
same.
Flat roof versus
Product.
pitch roof with a
We
pan and,
don't have to put bids on these because they'll be small enough projects. And we can just
Yeah.
hire who we know is good and reasonable.
that part's what really worries Dave,
Yes,
of protecting his
Yes.
investment and our investment. Well, what do you think, Bill?
Well, I think we'd probably be all right with the 17. But it's, even if we don't, it's all gonna come back to us after that, so it's, it looks better for this year.
Worst case scenario, if we come up short on money, we have to borrow money and amend the budget, right?
yeah. I'd still feel more comfortable with 20. But
Let's,
I
we'll
don't-
stay at the 20 then, it still brings it down some. And,
next year you can lower the levy when we've got the when the monies can be returned to us.
like I've said many times before, the supervisors of the past benefited from kicking the ball, and we got the ball and we can't kick it anymore, so
The ball is flat.
the supervisors or the taxpayers actually of the present are gonna really benefit the taxpayers of the future. Because a lot of this stuff is, the jail and all this stuff has been taken care of in the last, in the courthouse. And, the future looks brighter.
As long as we don't get taken on the turbine redo.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't, that's,
But according to Sue, she's assessing the new turbines in 21. So that means the taxes we'll be budgeting for next year. In our next budget, we'll be able to get 20% out of those turbines probably. Not this year, but the next year. That's one of those strange things where what Sue is doing the first year or 1 year is what she works with the next year, and the treasurer actually sees the year after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, you're 1 year behind the assessor when she assesses it.
And then they pay taxes on that the year after that,
Yeah, the monies aren't
Yeah.
seen until
3 years.
3.
And the first year of that, I was gonna ask Sue what the revenue is expected out of those, what the full taxes are and what 20% is gonna be that first year. But she hasn't assessed it yet, so.
well, I've heard that they don't, that, because of the technology and stuff, and, that the new ones aren't valued, their actual initial purchase price isn't as much higher as you might think it would be. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know.
That's kind of what I was hearing through Sue was it's
Well-
conceivable that the newer converted ones might be less valued than the old ones.
I'd have a hard time,
Because labor
I'd
has
have
gone
to see
up.
that first, but,
So when they convert them though, that's,
We call it maintenance.
see,
because that's just,
They want to call it replacing and then they start over at square one.
we should have been like Minnesota,
I know,
tax on the output, not on the valuation.
exactly.
That way, the bigger they are, the more money we get.
So these bigger ones that are proposed though will have a higher price
I
tag.
don't think they're much bigger than this that
I
they're
don't,
doing.
what they repurpose these out here and, I don't think they're, the ones up there by rake aren't any bigger than,
Yeah,
they surely don't look any bigger.
I think they're the same as what we just rebuilt out here.
Yes.
So she's showing, 2 of them are, let's see, 10 are 2 megawatt, 80 are 2.5 megawatt, and 44 are 1.5. So those 1.5s will go to 2.5 or 3.
Yeah, those are going up now.
So whatever you're seeing possible up by Lake Mills is going to be in that 2.5 to
I would assume so, yeah.
2.5 range, I would say. So is the consensus 20 then, or?
Well, if that's what, and it's just a short-term thing. It'll be 1 year and it'll be over. So it's, if she feels safest with that, we'll go with that.
And then we'd be able to reduce the levy next year and
Yeah.
still be safe.
I think as long as we all agree that we'll take a really hard look at it,
Oh, yeah.
then,
Next
and
year is
then-
going to be a lot easier to look at
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
than this year,
Yeah. It's-
because we'll have more turbine.
Is that the
Certainly.
Suburban you saw?
pardon?
Oh, he said he thought he saw my Suburban in town yesterday.
Well,
Oh,
seems like it was lighter.
And
see it go by?
one the exact same color as mine just drove by, so. Except for the one side has it's colored.
I was thinking it was more goldish, but
well, I would defer to you three because you're gonna know more about it than I am. I'm certainly still learning.
Well, my instinct and desire is to lower the levies as low as possible. And, but, I mean, it's also, you gotta stay in the comfort zone of, yeah, I'm okay with 20.
That
We
200
came down.
$200,000 carryover was not comfortable.
No.
I'd almost
I was
think that 720,000 would be comfortable. But
Yeah.
because we have such a
that
large
700
budget because of that 800,000, that brought the
720,
percentage up,
720, that's the 17%.
Yeah.
Well, we survived a 200,000 one, so it's,
No, not very well, but we did. So
yeah.
we're still here.
Yeah.
You tell me, I'll make it work.
Compromise at 18.
I'd feel more comfortable with just what people have personally talked to me about through the county. if we did 17 or 18, but like I said, I'll certainly defer because I'm not schooled in this specifically.
All you gotta know is that you don't wanna raise taxes,
That's what I've been,
but sometimes it's,
Well,
what
none of us
people,
wanna raise taxes,
No,
that's
no,
not
no,
the
it's,
goal, but we also need to make it so that we don't have to
so we're
do a huge
feasible or
levy
whatever,
increase because we've made a mistake and have gone too low and
Yeah, 'cause
have a
it's a lot,
problem
it's a
either.
lot harder to go back and get it later than it is to.
No, you can't levy after the fact, you just change the levy the next year, so.
Mhm.
But if you run short for whatever reason, if there's some catastrophic thing happens or whatever, it's hard to go hard. You know, if you need the money in that year and you don't have it in the budget, you gotta think. Well, you gotta go borrow it, I guess. So, we don't want to do that either.
No,
Well, and like you said, Terry, maybe if the project doesn't come in as high as what we think, you know, then it won't be a problem to go lower.
No,
It's if the budget, or if the bid comes in higher than what we think,
well, that's the scary part. Is there's a little unknown here, and we got to guess.
so the bidding process hasn't started at all.
no,
When are you talking about a
Well,
start
Here
date on it?
shortly.
hoping,
at the beginning of the fiscal year.
we're hoping
Just
about
work.
April is
Yeah.
when we'll actually start with the,
Bidding,
getting the bids together. and-
money's not available till July 1st.
Mhm. Well, the nice thing is, if you have a certain amount of money, then your bids are really important,
Mhm.
Like how many will bid it?
Oh, I'm sure there'd be 3 or 4, I would guess, maybe.
It's a pretty specialized project, and that's the problem. There's a lot of
If it was just
Different-
shingles, it'd be one thing, but
Yeah.
you've got that
There's
pan, you have to.
rubber roof, there's copper work, there's metal work, there's masonry work,
Yeah.
shingle work. So it's
That's-
and the angles and the valleys, it makes it a very complicated
Mhm.
project.
Well, we just got to ask ourselves: do we feel lucky?
Do you, Bill?
Do you feel lucky, punk? Clint Eastwood.
He says it much better though.
Oh no, yeah, he's got much more panache.
Grasp.
So at this point, I'm looking at ICAP, balance change,
Where does ACAP come out of?
54.
And that is under general basic or?
Yes, well, maybe general supplemental.
General miscellaneous.
There's on page 75, almost clear down to the bottom, there's a real property insurance.
So we showed no increase, and if there's 15% increase,
And so there's actually, I couldn't remember how it was, but there's property insurance in all the budgets that have like secondary road would have some because they have specialized vehicles and
So it'd be 2,600 more for the insurance.
Just
well,
on
we'd
that.
have to add it to every place that has insurance.
Yeah.
So like
But just on
secondary,
this one here,
conservation has insurance and because they have vehicles and so they're
well, I suppose the insurance industry had taken a beating with all the riots. I heard that some of them were gonna go bankrupt up in the cities.
well, that's probably the other reason it's going up.
So they all just raised it across the board to help each other out. I don't know.
Any opportunity.
Well, yeah, it's the speculators are gonna speculate.
Does ICAP have an underwriter then?
I mean,
Our insurance, is there a,
so
like,
we use Tim Missile,
yeah,
who uses ICAP.
but
There's another company,
there's an
but I can't think
underwriter
of
that,
it off the
main
top of my
company
head.
that actually does it.
Lloyd's of London,
I don't think that's it.
that's not that big.
I don't think so.
Here's one on page 43 under roads. Real property insurance, that's 0. Another one's 0 up above it. I don't know where it is, but let's change numbers or something.
54 should be the biggest portion of it. That amount that I showed you on page 75.
So you'll have to change those then, right? Wherever we find it.
Yeah,
2,700 on that one alone.
Yeah.
Uh,
So say overall was $3,000 increase. That's not a lot on our carryover if we just leave our levy rate what we thought it was and just change the entries for the budgets. We're talking minute.
yeah, it's not huge.
I guess by far the biggest worry is where the bid's gonna come in on the road. And I guess we don't, if it's too big, we don't have to do it either.
No.
So
Exactly.
we'll wait.
I
bid it
don't
again
feel
the next
comfortable
year.
not doing it, but
Well, no, yeah, I wanna get something on top of all the work on the sides as quickly as possible, so we don't ever have to.
you know, they talk like those building materials are gonna come down sometime. Yeah, I'll be surprised.
Yeah.
I remember when shingles went up years ago. Oh, but they'll come down. Not very much and not very fast.
My guess is commodities such as wood, and, everything, oil, everything's gonna go up. Because the price of oil is probably gonna go up, I would guess.
Already is.
Already is, yeah.
Well, so what target did we have for carryover in the basic? Were we at 20 again, or were we at 18 or 17?
Well, we can make the 17 work, we just make the decision not to do it, I guess. If it comes in way too high.
Or get more bids or
Yeah.
reach further out or something, you know?
Between 17 and 20 is about 120,000. 127,000 or so.
So that'll. Yeah.
I think it's, for me, it's just the principle of it, but I just got elected, you know, so that's a little bit different, you know, a lot of
Well,
people
yeah.
talk to me about it, you know, during the election, so.
It's, you know, nobody wants, there's nobody that's against higher taxes more than I. It's, but like I've always said, at the county level, there's nobody giving pallets of cash to Iranians. It's all about services and the building, the jail. And from what I've seen, the supervisors are becoming wealthy after their terms. So that's what most politicians do. They become millionaires after their
I don't
career.
think at the local level. No.
Oh, no, I haven't seen a lot of supervisors that are, that's why all the money should be spent at our level because
That's
it's a
a
lot
federal
easier.
level.
Yeah, it all should be spent at our level. It's a lot easier to hold us responsible than it is the rest of them.
I mean, I did talk to Elizabeth, and she does say that the recommended amount to be is the 25%. The only reason I bring up to lower this for this year is just because I know that money's coming back in through TIF next year.
Yeah.
So.
So if you feel 20% is gonna make it, you know, simpler and easier with that money coming back anyway, I can agree to that. I mean, if that's where you guys think it needs to be. It's not great big numbers. You
No,
know.
it's not a huge difference. It's basically what you guys, it's your comfort level.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Well, it's also your comfort level. If your comfort level is 20%, it's not like the money's going anywhere because if we don't spend it, it's still there as a carryover.
I guess if I go out into the public after, saying 20% is gonna be our carryover, I guess the reason I'll give for that is because we're not sure where the roof's gonna come in at.
Yeah.
We gotta have enough to get it done.
We don't have a crystal ball, so.
and we will be able to lower the levy next year
Yes.
when we don't have this big project hanging over our head. And
In theory, we won't have any more great big projects.
I mean, we're gonna have some work to do that we need to do in here. I mean,
But you know,
That's
everything
maintenance money.
else can be pushed down the road if it has to be, in a sense, as far as the interior stuff and all that. The exterior, that is needed to protect the interior.
You start working on the interior, you've got a lot more local contractors that are willing to do it at a lot less money.
And you can do it one section at a time to where you don't have to go out to these big bids and public hearings and which, you may want to do that anyway, but, yeah.
but the cost threshold isn't there where we have to.
No, we don't have to do it all at once, so we don't have to have this big, huge.
And we don't have to have the architect involved.
Yeah.
Paying
All
him.
those fees.
That's the other reason to take these little roofs off. Then there's not architecture involved.
Yes, was discussed.
Well, I guess I'd accept the 20%. Put the entries in for the increases in the ICAP and.
Okay.
You guys okay with that?
The other place that will change is the mental health, and I don't know how that will change yet, but I will bring a completed budget to you next week, and then we'll set a public hearing, hopefully if
Well, I mean, I don't know how we managed to end up with negative funds.
Well,
Well, I put it in, but I separated it, so it would be,
we just
Same with
disagree on
the machines,
numbers.
I gotta change my-
She wants me to put in something different for beginning to balance. And
She's,
I don't know.
you know, in her defense, she's new at this, but then also she should listen to people that aren't, so.
That's, like I said, we're having our conference call at 1 o'clock today, so we'll get it all hashed out. And like I said, I plan to come to you next week with the completed budget and be done with, get our public hearings set and all that stuff, so.
Per the conversation we had with Elizabeth last week, did you find anything out from Robert on their funds for their project?
Yes, they are going to be, well, they're worried about their bids too.
They had a meeting yesterday, we never heard what came out of that.
Yeah, so once they decide what they're gonna end up doing with the bids, then the Friends Group will put the money into the county and then we'll pay for the building at the county level.
So everything funnels through us and they're holding donations.
But with the bids, the construction materials being higher, it increased the cost of their building by 30%, so they're struggling now to do more fundraising because they don't, where they had enough before, now they don't have enough again. So it's a struggle.
Isn't that funny? No, it's not.
Makes me feel good about when we built that jail. We hit the market just right because before that it was high and it dropped about 20% right when we did it. So we were lucky to get what we got done for $4.5 million.
Everything's supposed to be better and cheaper when the right politicians are in charge.
no comment.
Have you heard anything about that money coming from the state Department of Revenue?
For,
Well, on our supervisors meeting, they said there was gonna be some money coming down
Oh, the-
next week.
more CARES money, you mean?
Yeah,
Not yet.
made it sound like check was in the mail.
It did, didn't it? Did they ever have this,
That's the money that there was no ties to. We could do whatever we want with it.
Yeah,
They have money like that?
They said, didn't you take it
yes,
that way?
that's how I heard it, but
You could put it in the
with-
bank, you could allocate it to public health, you could, cover their cost, whatever you wanna do.
Huh. I'm shocked.
They're awful slow getting us the money that they promised us. Even with our grants that we did earlier, it took a long time to get that in.
But this is money we didn't apply for. It's just leftover money they're sending
Right.
out. Well, is that it for budget?
I think so.
Hearing no further, we stand adjourned.